Sunlight filtered through the half-open curtains, casting a soft glow across the room. The faint scent of morning dew lingered in the air, accompanied by the crisp, melodious chirping of birds. I suddenly opened my eyes, my vision momentarily blurred, but soon, a room both familiar and foreign came into view. "Where is this?" I muttered to myself. My gaze wandered around the room. It was a small yet tidy bedroom, wooden desk, simple bookshelf, and a few sets of sports clothes hanging at the foot of the bed. I froze. All of this, wasn't this my room when I was 13? I looked down at my young, tender hands. Those calluses that had formed from years of training were now completely gone. I quickly threw off the blanket, jumped out of bed, and rushed to the mirror on the desk. The face reflected back was one I knew well, but hadn't seen in so long, my younger self. I've gone back to being 13? The realization hit me like a bolt of lightning, shaking me to the core. I pinched my face hard, and the pain made me wince. It wasn't a dream. I really had been reborn. I stood in front of the mirror, speechless. Memories from my previous life surged forward like a tidal wave, how I had endured countless nights of grueling training but had never managed to break through the barrier between a mere martial artist and a spirit dancer, how I had watched helplessly as Yi Qiu, once my friend, turned into my enemy, and in the end, defeated me. It all felt like it had just happened. "This time, I won't make the same mistakes," I murmured, clenching my fists. Taking deep breaths, I tried to calm the emotions surging inside me. I knew that the mistakes of the past could not be repeated. Since the heavens had given me a second chance, I would walk a different path this time. A knock on the door interrupted my thoughts. "Xia Chen, get up. Time for breakfast." It was my mother's voice, gentle and familiar. My nose tingled, and tears threatened to fall. In my previous life, I had grown distant from my family, obsessed with training. And my mother, she had passed away when I was 20, and I hadn't been there for her. This time, I wouldn't let myself live with such regrets again. I took a deep breath and called out loudly, "I'll be right there." Quickly, I changed into clean sports clothes, ran a hand through my messy hair in the mirror, and smiled, something I hadn't done in what felt like ages. A new life begins now. At the breakfast table, my mother was ladling porridge into a bowl. There was a soft smile on her face, and the sunlight illuminated her profile, making me feel momentarily dazed. That face, a face I could no longer see in my previous life, was now right in front of me. "What are you daydreaming about?" My mother chuckled. "You're going to practice martial arts later, right? Don't forget to eat well." "Yeah," I nodded, trying to hide my surge of emotions. "I won't." I buried myself in my breakfast, while my mother gently reminded me, "Relax, don't put too much pressure on yourself. You're still young. Take it one step at a time." Her words filled me with warmth. This time, I would make sure she could be proud of me. After breakfast, I returned to my room and sat at my desk, sorting through my thoughts. The memories of my past life unfolded in my mind like a heavy book. I needed to act quickly and formulate a detailed plan. I grabbed a notebook and swiftly wrote down a few large characters. Goal: Spirit Academy. I remembered that the entrance exam for Spirit Academy was just 2 months away. In my previous life, I had underestimated the challenge and failed the test. This time, I would prepare in advance and change my fate completely. I opened my phone and quickly scanned through the information. The date on the screen made my heart race. There was still time. I circled the date of the entrance exam on my calendar in bright colors, marking it as countdown, 60 days. Next, I had 2 steps. First, to improve my martial arts skills again, and second, to find a reliable spirit contract. In my previous life, I had neglected the importance of spirit partners. This time, I wouldn't make that mistake again. Just as I was immersed in my planning, a message popped up on my phone. It was from my best friend, and later rival, Yi Qiu. "Xia Chen, are you free this afternoon? Want to train together?" Seeing the message, I smiled slightly. In my past life, this was when we had begun drifting apart. But this time, things would be different. I replied, of course. Let's work hard together. After closing my phone, I stood up and stretched, feeling a sense of ease I hadn't felt in years. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but I was ready. That afternoon at the training grounds, Yiqiu was already there, waiting for me. He was wearing simple sports clothes and smiling the same familiar smile. Xia Chen, today we're going to see who's stronger. I smiled back, a subtle determination in my eyes. Of course. I'm not planning on losing. The sun blazed down on the training grounds, but my heart was lighter and more resolute than ever. This time I would change my destiny and reclaim everything that was rightfully mine. After training, we walked home side by side, bathed in the warm hues of the setting sun. I knew this was the second chance fate had given me, and I wouldn't waste it. Yiqiu, I suddenly said, my tone light yet serious. He turned to look at me. We'll always walk this path together, right? Yiqiu hesitated for a moment, then smiled. Of course. We're best friends, aren't we? I smiled softly and silently prayed, I hope you'll always remember that. This time I wouldn't let anyone bring me down. No matter how hard the road ahead, I would forge ahead with unwavering resolve. Because this time I was no longer the weak Xia Chen.